changes and updates to Magai.co that I invited Dustin here today to tell us, for all of you people who've been using Magi and all of you people who do not have any idea what Magi is. Clearly, you don't have to speak well to be a CEO. That you can absolutely fall in love with this platform and software as much as I and thousands of others have. So I have with me today, as many of you know him, the fabulous, the wonderful, the furry Dustin Stout, the CEO of Magi.co. And Dustin is going to explain where Magi is right now, what you can utilize Magi for. We're going to give you some examples and create a couple of things and where Magi is going. So, Dustin, the mic is yours.
Yeah, so Magi from the beginning has really been a mission to make accessible all the best AI tools to the average person. A lot of the AI hype and advancements have been really exciting and really most adopted by the developers in the world, those who are already techies and who already understand, the technology so much that they're building apps with it. I really wanted to build a product that was accessible for everyone. The average person, the person who just needs to get work done, and they need to get done faster, with more efficacy, and with less work. Get work done with less work. So Magi is a platform that brings in all the best AI models, the best AI tools, and layers in convenience functionality so that they're easier to use, they're simpler to use, and you don't have to have 15 different subscriptions to use them all. Because right now, there's a lot of tools popping up, and they all require an individual subscription. So we bring in ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Meta AI, and all the leading AI LLMs that are out there, all the chatbots. And then we also bring in the top image generators like DALL-E, Stable Diffusion, Leonardo, Flux, and really just giving users the ultimate flexibility to get the best of the best AI tools in one place. So that was our mission from the beginning, and that remains our mission today. And I think we've done a pretty successful job at that so far.
So I want to talk about Flux for just a minute. Flux is making major inroads in the NFT community. I'm heavily involved in that community through, obviously Twitter, X, and Uncut, and lots of others. And some of the best work I've seen in the past, I'm going to say 2 to 3 weeks, and we're sharing prompts, which is really cool, is from Flux. I want to talk with you off screen a little bit later about some of the Flux numbers that I didn't recognize. It's not like 1.1 Pro or something like that. There was some other weird 57 or something. So we'll talk about that off screen, and maybe that's something else you could bring in. But when we do talk about image generators, I'd like you to go a little heavy on Flux, because it is making a splash in the NFT community right now.
Making a lot of waves.
Yeah, let's start with large language models, and then we'll go into image generation a little bit later.
Yeah, so obviously the biggest world-changing technology that has come out in the last 2 years was the onset of ChatGPT, and the idea that you can have human-like conversations with essentially robots that are so smart that they sound like humans, in that they can write copy that sounds like a human made it. So Magi's first and foremost feature that we had to have was the ability to chat with an AI large language model. And from the beginning, like I said, we wanted to give users access to all of the best AI models. So OpenAI wasn't the only one in town, even though it's the household name. It's the one that people hear about the most. It's the one that gets the most publicity. They are not actually the only one who has very intelligent chatbots or large language models. A company called Anthropic is OpenAI's biggest competitor, and I would say Anthropic's model Claude is superior to the GPT models in many ways. And then you have Google, who's working on their Gemini models, and you have Meta. And so I wanted to give users an interface where they can chat with these models, but they can also choose which model they want to chat with at any given time. And they can even swap out these models and have a conversation with multiple different AI models at once. And so in Magi, you can choose your LLM. You can say maybe start a conversation with GPT-4o because that's the one you know, that's the one you've heard the most with, and maybe you've used Chat GPT many times. And then you can see how it responds to a question, maybe a task that you have for it. You know, write me a social media announcement about my new business, Magi.
Hey, Dustin, can
You
we
can
go to
see.
dark mode to save people's eyes late at night when they're watching this replay?
Sure, sure. We can go to dark mode.
There we go. I love dark mode.
Yeah, so you can see how GPT responds to it, and then you can switch over to Claude and see how Claude responds to that same message. You can regenerate that message using Claude, or you can just continue the conversation with Claude if you want. And just see how these different models approach your queries and your tasks. On top of having the flexibility to choose whatever model you want, we also allow you to sort of sort through them by moderation status. So some of these models have very strict guidelines. They won't talk about certain topics, or they might give you some flack for talking about certain topics. So we have a way you can filter these models by moderated or unmoderated and get access to the ones that maybe aren't so picky about what they will allow you to talk about. On top of that, we have tools built in here to make your life a little bit easier. A document editor. So if you're writing long form copy, a blog post, article, landing page, or if you just want to take notes on your conversation, you can do so inside of a beautiful editor. This is one of our big updates. We made a big upgrade to the document editor. We'll just write title goes here. If I could spell title. And we made some updates to this editor. It's now a beautiful, rich text editor. You can write in, regular text. You can use Markdown shortcuts to do things like headings. It was working, but it turns out that something went wrong. But let's say you do have already text here. Why is my machine freaking out? There we go. You can do strike through, bold. Oh, man. Yeah, my Windows not responding well. I might have too many apps. But rich text editor. Make notes and write documents. You can also export those documents when you're done in the form of a PDF or a docx. We have saved prompts. So sometimes you have maybe prompts that you use over and over again that you found to work really well for your business, or they represent repeatable tasks that you often do. You can save those prompts easily, give it a title, add it to a folder, and then write your prompt. And then when you need to send that prompt again, you can see it in your sidebar here. Single click and it gets added right to the input, and you can send that off to the AI model. And then you can, of course, access your chats list at any time. This is important for me. If you've ever used ChatGPT and you have a lot of conversations in there and you want to find the thing that you made last week, it's not the most easy thing in the world. So with Magi, it's super easy to find what you're looking for. Simply search for it and it'll filter through the list and help you find what you're looking for. We even have intelligent filters to help you find things faster and easier. We have folders so you can keep things organized. And you can even share things with your team members. So in Magi, you can invite team members to share the same workspace, and you can share conversations between each other. You can even contribute and collaborate inside those conversations back and forth. And that's
Now,
pretty much
Dustin,
everything on the LLM side.
when you're talking to let's just say ChatGPT, it could be Claude, it could be any of them. Not only can you choose which AI large language model you're using, but you could do it in dozens and dozens and dozens, and you're bringing in hundreds of different personas. You can also create your own persona. Can you just go in and give people just a minute or two explaining what personas are, and then let's just touch on brand voice, and then let's go over to images.
Yeah, it's a really important topic, and it's more of a, I would say, if just learning how to interact with an LLM is chatbots 101.
Yeah,
This is
oh, and
more of an
explain why
LLM.
this is so important. Why?
Yeah, it's a
Because you
102
see, if you
topic.
look up where everything is as an assistant, a helpful assistant, if you're using like ChatGPT free, that will only give you a certain amount of replies that may or may not be what you're looking for. But if you can search as a persona, like maybe you want to search as as a comedian, or you want to search as a professional writer, um, give an idea, Dustin, just in a minute or two, why personas is so important versus just having your chat GPT be your helpful assistant.
Yeah, so the easiest way I've found to explain it is, think of it like this. The AI is trained on billions of data points, right? And so it has this knowledge that it's learned, and as a result, it has sort of a default way of responding to queries. It has a standard voice that it uses based on its training data. And that voice and that knowledge is generalized to the point where you can almost tell it's created by a large language model. Now, what a persona does, a persona is essentially a set of instructions you give the AI model to perform a specific task or to fulfill a specific role. Think of it like giving an employee a job description. This is your job, and this is what you do. By doing that, what you're doing is you're forcing the AI to sort of ignore, not necessarily ignore, but sort of funnel its responses in a certain vein of thinking. And by doing that, you get 10, 20, even 100 times better results, because the AI doesn't have to dilute itself across all of this broad spectrum of knowledge. You're focusing it. And that results in much better ideas. And so in Magai, we give you access to over 40 different, I think it's 50 now, pre-made personas. These are anything from marketing experts, stand-up comedian, or even academic researcher. We have, again, 50 that I have handcrafted myself for very specific tasks. So if you have a copywriting task, you want to use the expert copywriter because it's going to produce much better writing. If you have an academic research that you want to do, you want to switch to that academic researcher. But beyond that, maybe you have brand specific needs. You have a specific brand voice. You have specific ways of approaching problems and queries. You can build your own custom personas to fulfill those needs. And so in Magai, it's as simple as clicking new persona, giving it a name, and giving it some instructions. The description is more or less, just a short way of saying, what does this AI do, so you can remember what it does, or your team can remember what it does. And tags are really just in that same vein. Now, what we've recently released is a huge upgrade to these personas. Now you can upload documents and files to give these AIs knowledge, which essentially translates to whatever data that you want to be the most important for this AI model. Maybe you have proprietary data. Maybe you have proprietary standard operating procedures. Maybe you have data sets that inform everything that you do, that you want the AI to know specifically and filter everything that it does through. A great example is my friend Jeff Hunter. He's a world-renowned copywriter. People pay him tens of thousands of dollars to write copy for them. He has a proven methodology. He has a proven series of not just data sets that inform him how to write copy, but example after example after example. By feeding these and uploading this knowledge to an AI model, it can replicate these methodologies. It can replicate those examples and just make that AI so much more custom to your needs. A big upgrade. And if you learn how to use this and utilize that, I mean, the potential for really duplicating yourself or creating a digital clone of yourself from a copywriting standpoint or an output standpoint is pretty significant. And that's personas at a very high level.
Very cool. All right. So that is a very, very quick rundown of a massive amount of stuff that Magi does. Um, we could have taken hours to do it, but I guess Dustin is going into the image side right now. Dustin, is
Yeah,
that supposed to be you?
still. Right before this call, I was experimenting with our new feature, the ability to train AI models on your likeness and generate images. And this is one of the ones that just cracked me up. But real quickly, we'll dive through. Just like on the large language model side, we wanted to give users the access to all the best of the best image generators and even video generators. So you can see through our list here, we have many different options when it comes to generating rich media for whatever your needs are. Not going to go into detail about what each model does. I mean, that's a whole other training in itself. But suffice to say, you can kind of test them all out and see which one works best for your needs. Again, they all have strengths and weaknesses, just like the LLMs. So you really want to play around with them and find which one gives you what you need. So we have a prompt input up here. The idea is you type your prompt, a cat playing cards. And the thing that you have to understand about AI models is you can give them simple prompts like this, and they might give you something close to what you want. But oftentimes, the more detailed your prompts are, the better and more closely the end product will be to what your vision is for that image. And so you really want to be good at describing your images. But if you're not, like most people aren't, then we have a little feature called the Prompt Enhance button. Prompt Enhance is essentially going to look at your simple prompt, and it's going to use its training data to expand that prompt and make it more descriptive. It's going to fill in the entire scene, give more details, so that when you send it off to the AI, that AI is going to have all the rich details it needs to really produce a high quality image. And of course, it wants to be slow while we're going live. It's probably
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's usually instant.
It's usually instant.
It is. I'm like, what? Why is it doing that? I've never seen it do that before.
Me neither. Yeah, let me jump
Well,
out.
this is why we edit videos. There it is.
Oh, and then of course, I moved away right when it happened. Try it again. A cat. Oof. Cards. All right, let's try that again. Oh, it's still going slow. I wonder what that is.
We will edit out this entire section and splice them together like gods on high.
Very strange. It makes me wonder if there's some high influx of traffic right now. It might be the servers, it might not be, might be my connection.
It's only 3 days before Thanksgiving. People are out shopping for turkeys and then looking at the price and going, "Are you kidding me?"
Man, I've literally never seen that happen before on this particular feature.
Neither have I. It's all good. Like I said, that's why we edit videos. No one will see any of this. Oh, wait, this is live.
We're live.
I want to
This
see
is
this.
live stream.
Pay no attention to that man with the long hair for about 10 more seconds.
Oh, now it seems to have frozen. Yeah, it just flat out didn't work. Skipping that feature, let's try to go back here again. So once you've got your prompt in there, we have some additional features that allow you to possibly in-paint, which means if there's a part of the image that doesn't quite come out right, you can paint over that area and regenerate that specific area. We have upscalers that will help you add detail and increase the resolution of your images, making them higher quality. You can crop your images to the sizes that you need. You can remove the background by using AI, or you can give it motion. Lots of fun features to really just play with AI in as many ways as you can, getting the right images that you need for your business, for your portfolio. One thing that I'll say, you did ask me to talk about Flux. We did just in this last update add the ability to train your own Flux LoRa. LoRa is essentially just a fancy way of saying a custom trained version of Flux based on a subject, in this case, my face. Or you can even train it on your product. You feed it a bunch of images of your product, and so now you can use that product in generative imagery, or you can train it on specific styles of photos. If you have tons of photography that you've done for your business, or maybe you are a photographer and you want it to replicate that style of image, you can train the model on this, and you can we'll actually store these custom versions for you. So at any time you can pull them up and access them again and generate them based on whatever your needs are. We have preset sizes, so you can get the right size you need, and some of them, they have different options for inference depth, essentially how many passes you want the AI to take at refining the image, how much it follows your prompt or not, how creative it gets. And then, of course, you can access all your photos at any time. This is another fun one. Futuristic photo shoot. But you can see these custom trained models can be quite good at coming up with your likeness or whatever you're trying to accomplish. Some really
I have no response to that one when you're in silver. I can't get that out of my head. Nice robot though.
This is the result of having the prompt enhance your prompt and then not reviewing it, just letting it go. Because I think all I did for this one was I used my trigger word, which is how the AI knows to do the subject you've trained it on. I think I said Dustin 004 in a high fashion photo shoot. And then I let it do whatever it wanted with the prompt enhance, and this is what it came up with.
Oh boy.
Really fun stuff. But yes, I love generating images. I use them in pretty much everything, from social media content to blog posts to ads. Really useful. Saves me dozens and dozens of hours of having to go through stock photography and find something that barely fits what I actually want it to do. So those are image tools. We also, again, have video generation tools as well. You can turn your images into video. I don't think I have any examples right away, but yeah, they are there and able to have you experiment with them. So another cool feature we just added was the ability to kind of filter through these. So if you need a text image generator, you can filter by that. If you are only looking for text to video, you can click on that and see only those ones, or image to video in the same way. So
can you jump into Flux 1.1 Pro really quick and create exactly what we're seeing on the screen here? Where I love the ones where like it's you sitting in a bar and Magai is, in these bold neon letters above the bar. It's just Flux is pretty much the best at creating lettering. Is that true?
Yeah, it's the best. So in the beginning, AI image models could not do text. They weren't trained on text. They were trained on subjects and styles. But only recently were these AI models able to do text, and it seems like Flux is the best at it. Now, it can't do huge amounts of text. Like you can't have it do a whole paragraph of text. It will not, in most cases, do well with that. But simple words, maybe a few words here and there, it can do exceptionally well. Flux 0.1 Pro is the most recent iteration of the Flux model, and it does exceptionally well with all things. It's very versatile, but text in particular, it's good at. So I have I often like to do a wealthy man sitting in a bar, a sign in the background says Magi. And let's see if this is working now. Probably not. Well,
It's taken over your computer. The AI has taken over your AI.
It is, yeah. Something is off, and we'll figure it out.
If you're watching this live right now, it is Monday morning. Remember that. Or afternoon, depending on where you live.
Okay, let's try it again. So we'll say a wealthy man in a, you know what? Let me just find one of the prompts that I've used before. So see if I can find one of these.
There we go.
Here we go. Another great feature, I kind of zoomed right past it there. But when you do generate an image, we maintain all of the details. You can, in a single click, copy the prompt, and then you can see what model, what size, what seed it was used, and you can even hit the rerun generation button, and it'll pre-fill all of those things for you. And so this was done with Flux 1 Pro. Let's switch to 1.1 Pro, a little bit newer, a little bit faster. Fewer options, but we don't necessarily need all of those. So we've got a wealthy man sitting in a luxurious lounge with a cocktail, neon sign that says Magi slightly out of focus in the background, photorealistic image, modest high fashion, elegant attire, richly decorated interior with plush furnishing, soft ambiance, golden lighting, professional photograph, medium shot, 50mm lens, HDR, 8K resolution, highly detailed. This is a showcase of really how this AI can fill your image with so much rich detail. There's no way I could have thought of all that stuff. Like I maybe could have thought of a handful of it, right? But the 50mm lens, I'm not an expert on photography. I wouldn't have thought of the lens to use. Sometimes it'll even put the name of a camera in there to further help stylize the image. But let's go ahead and generate it and see what it comes up with here for us. Flux 1.1, really good at photorealistic imagery. Not the best at like painting styles, but holy cow, look at that guy. I mean, yeah, I have no notes.
I like the candle on the table, slightly out of focus, where the clear focus is just in the center on the wealthy gentleman, where everything else is out of focus. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it does a great job at depth of field. And Magi spelled perfectly. That's kind of the thing with a lot of the lower end image generators. They might add some text, but oftentimes they misspell things and they get things wrong. But I've noticed that Flux just nails it every single time.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse than having an image that you love with the words spelled incorrectly, because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it ruins the whole thing.
Yeah. Or the opposite, the word is spelled right and the guy has 6 fingers on his right hand.
Right. Yeah.
Which frankly most people would not even see or care about, because your view is directly at what's in focus, because his hand is out of focus. The clear focus is on his face and the top half of his suit and Magi. All right. So being a professional photographer, I notice everything. I get really upset when I see incorrect musculature and arms in the wrong places, and a lot of NFT creators like, oh, I love the way this looks, and then there's 7 fingers and 3 arms. Like, come on, dude. Fortunately, most of these LLMs and most of the image generators on Magi will not do that. Dustin only picks the best. So thank you, Dustin, for hanging out with us today. Is there anything else you'd like to share on Magi and where it's going right now? Because you have so many updates.
Yeah. So what I can say about where we're headed is this past week, I really, as we were finalizing the release of adding knowledge to these LLM models, to the personas, I've had this idea for a long time of, where personas are going to go. I think they're going to be vitally important for the next 2 years of AI breakthroughs that we're going to see. And right now I've kind of readjusted the trajectory of what we're going to focus on to really go into this idea of agents. Now, that seems to be the word that a lot of people are locking onto. And to me, a lot of people are misusing this idea of an AI agent. Really, it's personas, but they're just giving it a different name. And I think the real power in this is going to be not just giving these models knowledge and making them super smart and super specific on trained data, but also adding skills and allowing them to do and take action outside of the app that they're currently in. So send those emails, or to schedule that social media content, or to produce multiple steps in an operating procedure. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday, a big time YouTuber, and I was telling him how we're planning on creating these agents that can not only output text, but research things, go find data, bring it back, pass it off to another agent, create multi-step systems and workflows that then publish stuff to the internet, or put things into a spreadsheet, or take actions. And that's really where we're headed in the next, I would say, 3 months. You're going to see some big moves inside Magai to open up personas into a marketplace where creators can share their personas, and eventually even start charging for those personas. For the really high-end, powerful ones, people will be able to sell them inside of our marketplace and make a living creating powerful personas.
That's amazing. So you'll have personas working with personas, looking for information, bringing it in, edited by your AI persona, re-edited by another AI persona, and then published to the internet like that.
Yep, autonomous workflows. Now, the technology is not there yet. A lot of apps are trying to accomplish this. They're trying to tie these AIs together into different workflows. But what we've seen is the AI is just not that good yet. It's pretty good. It's just not quite there yet. So what we're doing now is building the infrastructure for all of this, building the skills. So at first it'll be a marketplace, and then we'll add skills and functionality to take single actions with a human in the loop, where a human tells them to do an action, they do the action, the human makes sure that action was done right. After that, hopefully by then, we have the infrastructure in place where then we can allow users to build these autonomous workflows, and the AI will do a good job at it. So we're working towards that.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm excited to see where Magai is going to go. We'll continue to have these conversations and talk about all the different updates. So keep joining us. We're more than likely going to continue to keep doing this live, and I'll be doing little lives in the middle to look at little different pieces of all of the dozens of things that Dustin talked about today. If we went into detail on every LLM and every image generator, it would take us weeks, because there's so much there, all in one place, guys. All right. So we're gonna put some information in post editing on where you can get Magai, and try it out. Try it out for yourselves. It's really inexpensive. It's probably about the same cost as purchasing any one, versus the dozens of large language models and image generators that Magai has. So there's really nothing like it on the marketplace, and we know you guys are going to love it. Just be aware you may become addicted to it. So at some point we'll have Magai Anonymous for people that are addicted to it, and we'll figure out a shot that you can take to utilize it better. So thank you, Dustin, again for hanging out with me. We've done this about a dozen times already. And now we're live streaming them because I am lazy and I don't always put all my stuff up on YouTube and Facebook. So you guys have a great day. Thank you again, Dustin, for joining us on a Monday. Take care.